I was just telling them the last time I was in court, I was getting divorced. When you enter a court, suddenly the world's seriousness descends upon you, you know.
And the working title of our show was Mens Rea. It's a Latin term which means guilty minds.
An act does not make a person guilty unless their mind is also guilty.
Yeah, the show uses this philosophy to also convey a few things. Varun is also a baby.
I'm also a
He
baby,
doesn't
yeah.
show it, but he's a baby.
Yes, I'm guilty of being a baby.
Needy baby. Needy baby.
Hello everyone, welcome to ETimes. Today we have with us the team of Guilty Minds, Shriya Pilgaonkar, Varun Mitra and Sugandha Garg.
Welcome back.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
I want to know about your characters first.
So
Okay.
Deepak is a pretty ruthless guy, and he's an ambitious guy, and he's a pretty powerful guy, and he's a manipulative guy. He's a cunning fellow. But deep inside it all, he's an innocent person. He's a very straightforward person. He's been someone who's been taken advantage of in his younger days, which is why he's got some trust issues, and which is what makes him so outwardly aggressive. Because sure, he lets all his feelings out, but I think it's very rare that he lets someone in. I think the only person he's really let in, and the two people that he trusts, are the ones sitting next to me. But I think for the rest of for them, in front of them, he's Deepak, and in front of the rest of the world, he's Deepak Rana.
I play Kashyaf Kaze, and she comes from a family of lawyers. Her father's a sitting Supreme Court judge. Her grandfather was also a judge. And in spite of this legacy, I think she's chosen to carve her own path. She has this office called For the People's Associates that Vandana and her have together. And they take up cases very close to their heart. So Kashyaf is somebody who, she's very driven, she's very ambitious. She's very strong, but at the same time, in her personal life, there are things that she hasn't dealt with. She's a very non-confrontational person. She's very private. She has her boundaries. She doesn't let people in easily. She also has trust issues. And I think a lot of it stems from being very protective of the people she loves and she cares for. And because for Kashyaf, she has a very stubborn mindset of what's right and what's wrong. For her, life is black and white. What's wrong is wrong. Often that can, it can be difficult for her because life actually is not black and white. She has a very beautiful relationship with Deepak. They've been friends, but often when they're in court and sometimes off court also, they don't end up agreeing. But I think that friction is what makes their relationship truly interesting.
पत्थर रगड़ने से आग बनती है.
पत्थर रगड़ने से आग बनती है. The name of the character is Vandana Katpalia, and she and Kashyaf run For the People Associates. I find her to be very rebellious. I find her to be quite masculine. And I also think she has this very interesting idea of being in a man's world. Like there is this thing that she carries of, you know how Delhi girls are?
Right.
A little bit on the upfront, just so that they can manage life. That can get a little bit tough. So she's a tough girl, and she's in this business, and she's a lawyer, and she's a bra girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is BRUH, just so, yeah.
Bruh.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, are there any similarities between your characters and the real you?
No, I'm like a petal. I'm a flower in real life. I'm the sweetest person you will ever meet. I will sign off my house in your name when I meet you. I'm not aggressive at all.
I think there's
She's
one
lying.
thing which is
Poor thing.
with common with Sugandha and Vandana is that even while playing Deepak, I felt like that Vandana is someone that I could count on and that I could trust. I think Sugandha has that same sort of
Yes.
quality. Like I feel like I can speak to her about anything without she judging me or thinking of where I'm coming from. And there's no filter with her. That's the best part. She'll say anything and she'll hear anything as well. So I spoke for her. Why don't we speak for each other?
And one more quality that I will say that's similar with Vandana and Sugandha is that real life and real life, I think we are protective of each other. We have each other's back, and I think that happened organically in both ways. and we're very different from each other, yet we're also so similar, you know.
Yeah.
We get crazy when we're together, and I think that's what Vandana and Kashyap are also all about.
Okay, then and Varun.
You guys have to say
Similar.
that.
I mean, I think Varun is so quietly funny. There are things he will say under his breath that sometimes people don't catch, but he is really funny. So I think with Deepak's sass, like, you know, that slight sass and cynicism, Varun totally has that. Deepak is a little bit high on it. Varun will just let it slip under. If you catch it, you catch it. And I think he's quite, he's got that very naturally.
And also Varun is as endearing as
That's
Deepak Rana is. He's as warm, and I feel like even though he's not as flamboyant as Deepak's character is in the show, at the end of it we do see that Deepak is somebody, he's like a baby from within. Varun is also a baby.
I'm also a
He
baby,
doesn't
yeah.
show it, but he's a baby.
Yes, I'm guilty of being a baby.
Needy baby. Needy baby.
So, was the environment on the sets was like too intense, just like the trailer, because the trailer was a bit intense.
These guys are very good. So when they were fighting cases, specifically season 3, episode 3, I was there. She made me tear up. He made me tear up. So passionate. They've really fought those cases with so much absolute actor ethic of knowing their lines bang on all the time. And then just the passion with Shriya actually even broke down during one of those scenes. And I remember we walked out together. And I don't remember the last time I felt that close to a co-actor, because it was not overtly emotional. She was just really moved, and we just sat quietly. We took 5 minutes. She got her retouch done. Went back again did the same scene with the same kind of energy. And you know, in a court, when you're shooting a case, even on set, if your energy dips, everybody's energy dips. So they were the only two people who were like the right and the left of it, just rising like that. So they were very good. Very, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's true.
And of course in the court scenes, because also the cases are so well written, they're so interesting, ranging from, you know, futuristic driverless car to, you know, a social issue like sort of water and dating apps and, you know, copyright music. It was very interesting to hear both those sides and to be one part of it. So I think it was intense because we had to be really present, but at the same time the show, as you can see in the trailer, has some beautiful light moments even through the intensity, which I think is all credit to the writers for doing that, because that makes more of an impact, you know, when you're saying the most truthful things with a smile.
So, had any of you had to go to the court, like take legal route for something that happened in your life?
I was just telling them the last time I was in court, I was getting divorced. And it was a really amicable divorce. I don't mean to make light of the proceedings, but my ex-husband and I still get along very well. But I do remember, it's when you enter a court, suddenly the world's seriousness descends upon you, you know, you're not. And I remember we were giggling a little bit. And the lawyer told us, she said, please stop giggling, they will not give you the divorce, stop giggling. So we had to stop giggling. It was like this sense of this very serious world that you enter, and you have to behave yourself when you're in the courtroom. Yeah.
I have been to court, but I'd rather not say why. It is rather embarrassing. Yeah, I've been to court.
The only time I've been to court is the High Court, when I visited with a friend of mine who's a lawyer, because I wanted to observe and just, you know, go and suss what it's like, but not otherwise, thankfully.
Now, this is for Shriya. If you were a lawyer, would you defend a guilty client? If not, then why?
This is what the show is about, because the answer to this question is not simple.
Okay.
How did you decide the client is guilty?
Right.
So this is what I'm saying, that, you know, guilty or not guilty is, from a lawyer's point of view, it's a perspective. You know, when you ask Kashyap or any lawyer, the minute someone else is saying guilty, I haven't taken up that client, so I am not going to look at him as a guilty person. And the working title of our show was Mens Rea. It's a Latin term which means guilty minds, that conveys that it's a legal term that...
An act does not make a person guilty unless their mind is also guilty.
Yeah. what he said.
Right.
So the show uses this philosophy to also convey a few things.
So now this is for Sugandha. So do you agree that OTT has brought a revolution in the entertainment industry? Like more exposure these days we are getting.
Imagine if I were to say no, then what would happen?
You have to give an
You can say
explanation
no.
then.
You can say no.
No, of course it has, man. Back in the day when we were doing films, when Jaane Tu and all these films, My Name is Khan, all of it was much smaller, the pool from which you could pick, you know. I think essentially the reason why something evolves is because there are more options and there are more choices. So it's a sense of collapsing into each other's worlds, which always leads to more fun and more excitement. So absolutely. Like now to do a film feels like, can you imagine you get 10 episodes to develop a character. You have 10 hours for an audience to either like you, hate you, believe you, love you, whatever. In a film, you don't even get that much time. You only have like an hour and a half. So I do feel it's in the evolutionary cycle, it's a much sophisticated version of storytelling.
So Varun, one thing you have noticed in Shriya and Sugandha that nobody knows yet, that you can reveal it. Like one thing, small thing, anything it can be.
I don't know if nobody knows it, but
Okay.
with Sugandha, like I've gotten to know her on this set. We'd not interacted before, but I think that she's a very deep person and she's a very deep thinker, and I could be completely wrong about this.
She's a very shallow thinker. She only
No,
thinks
that's not about that. But I'm like, it was my observation on one of the days that she might come across as someone who's very strong, and which she is also, and even aggressive at times.
Yeah.
But inside, there's a very, very, very soft person. Baby also inside.
There are 3 babies here actually speaking.
Baby in there also. There's a sensitive person who feels tremendously, and which is why we become the way we become. If you feel a lot, then you have to show a lot as well.
Yeah.
So you can either hold it in or you can let it out. So that's about her. I think Shreya is more guarded, I feel. Like as someone who, like, how do I explain it? I don't know the right way of explaining it. Like if I was to compare the two, like I feel like it's easier to read her. Sometimes it's not as easy to read Shreya, which is also applies to Kashyap. Because
that's interesting.
it's you know, they feel everything more internally, and then if they don't want to be read, then you can't read them.
That's
which
actually
is a great
very,
quality
very
for
good
an actor.
observation.
Very fine.
Very, very good observation. I'm impressed. That's a very good observation.
Maybe no shit.
Because I feel like even though I'm a very expressive person, if I choose to let you in, then I will let you in. If not, then I won't. And there can be moments, I think with the 3 of us, we have such a beautiful equation where we might not be in touch every day, but we're all comfortable sharing things with each other and have that trust. You know, like it's that trust that doesn't depend on time spent, but just a familiarity. And it's also thanks to what our characters allowed us to explore, I would say.
So now Sugandha and Shriya can tell about Varun, like one thing.
I would say that he is very sensitive, much more than what one might think.
Okay.
And I feel like sometimes all Varun might want in a moment is just comfort. He's someone who seeks a lot of comfort, which I think we all do, but I feel like I sense that from you several times. Am I right?
Yeah. Possibly, yes.
Therapy session chal raha hai. What do you feel?
I think, which is also the thing that I identify with and I love about him. I think he's obsessed with excellence in his own work, in the given moment. Like it's a certain intensity to which he would like to commit himself to a scene, to a degree where it's so, like you're just looking at him and he's gone away, like till he comes back into the scene. And earlier I used to find that why doesn't he include us? Like I want to be a part of this. But then I realized that no, that's just for him. The internal process is so internal as an actor for him. And he takes so much of that emotional, all those big heavy rucksacks that come with it. he does carry them properly with great intention, with great actor intention. He does not switch to a tear just because he can. Really goes through the process again and again and again, which is like, it's credible to see someone like that on a set commit to it, and I really enjoy watching it like from the outside. So it's nice. I do enjoy that quite a lot. Yeah. But just don't make your music too loud.
Thank you for joining ETimes.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Thank you. Omkar Sawant.
I want to call you Dr. Sawant. This was definitely a therapy session.
Also, thank you for asking us questions that are a little different
Yeah.
from the rest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank
Really
you.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you.